Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Linguistics Show. It's Carol.
And Jason.
And we're back. We had a little short break because we had to get our lives together and then finish up this tour of the love languages. So today we're talking about words of affirmation.
Okay, and so for everyone who might have been behind or missed one of the earlier episodes, we're talking about the 5 love languages. What are 5 love languages? I mean, I know that I thought making bomb sandwiches was a love language.
You stay on the sandwiches. We're on stop number 4 and you're still on the sandwiches.
I mean, it's what's important to me. But in any event, there are 5 love languages. This whole concept was put together by Dr.
Gary Chapman.
Dr. Gary knew what he was talking about. Essentially, we as people his psychological research broke down 5 different love languages that most people fit into. You usually have one and maybe a secondary. So those 5 love languages are?
Those are acts of service, quality time, words of affirmation, receiving gifts, and physical touch.
Okay, and so we talked about a few of these already. Today we're going to talk about words of affirmation. Words of affirmation could be really, really straightforward. It could be really confusing. So we're going to kind of break that down for you so that you have a great idea of how that goes. Dr. Chapman's research showed that there were 5 different love languages, and as Carol related all of them to you, it's really, really important that we understand that these can be up to interpretation, and not only can they be up to interpretation, you can be more than one. We actually took a test on Dr. Chapman's website. There was a little kind of personality test, so to speak, to help you determine what your love language would be.
And that is from 5lovelanguages.com. That is the letter 5. That is the number 5, lovelanguages.com.
The letter 5?
Well, that's why I corrected it.
So
it's free, y'all, too. Free is good.
Free. That is good. And so it's important because in any kind of relationship, be it your relationship with your significant other, your romantic relationship, in a friendship, parenthood, even a relationship with your friends, it's important to know what kind of people the other people are and how they respond to your actions and things like that. And so it's Dr. Chapman on the same website goes on to detail 5 love languages for parenthood, 5 love languages for friendships.
For apologizing. What is your apology love language? That is something on there as well.
Right. And so
I need that sometimes.
Right. And so right. And so you said it, not me.
Yeah, because I mean it for me. I'm not talking about you. I mean, for me, I need to also probably take that quiz and just learn more about myself, too.
I agree.
Thanks.
And so, on the website, yes, we just talked about, we took the quiz, and we had some interesting scores. But both of us kind of had words of affirmation.
That's my 3rd one.
That was your 3rd most important. It was my 2nd most important, words of affirmation. And so words of affirmation, it's pretty much self-explanatory. It's exactly what it sounds like. But actions don't always speak louder than words. If words of affirmation is your love language, unsolicited compliments mean the world to you. Hearing the words, I love you, are important. Hearing the reasons behind that love sends your spirits skyward. So it's not just doing things for that person, that's act of service. It's not just doing things to that person, that's physical touch.
That's going to be next week, y'all.
It's not just getting things for that person, that's gifts. Words of affirmation is telling them they're important, telling them that you love them, and telling them why. And so that's the most important part to that love language. I think it's not just saying I love you, because that can become cliche when you say it over and over and over, and you just say it.
And I'm like, do you really love me?
It could become cliche. So I think the most important thing that was defined there was hearing the reasons behind that love. And so that's really the definition of words of affirmation.
It's according to the website, not according to us, but it's according to Dr. Chapman.
Right. I wouldn't have worded it that well. I would have been just like, speak nice things into existence. Be nice. Say nice things.
Yes, and actually mean
in my
them.
Marlon Wayne's face.
Oh my
Say
goodness.
nice things.
They can't see you.
That would have been that would have been me.
But when when you were doing your quiz, when I was doing mine, were you surprised by your ranking some words of affirmation? For you, not for me.
For me, no.
I wasn't either. For you,
I wasn't
that was number
surprised.
one for you.
I wasn't surprised, mainly because I know who I am as a person, and I know that as a child growing up, that was kind of an issue for me, is I didn't really get much positive reinforcement. I didn't really get a lot of words of affirmation growing up. I kind of had one of those, I had kind of one of those, do as I say, not as I do upbringings. And, when you have a military parent, even retired military, there's just a level of do as I say, not as I do, go follow the orders and do what you're supposed to do type of lifestyle. And so, yes, words of affirmation always meant a lot to me, mainly because I always felt that, something might have been missing there. And so for it to be second on my list, honestly, was really interesting. We would have thought it might have been third or fourth, because my wife tends to think I'm nasty, and physical touch is what's most important to me. And while I do enjoy the physical touch, it wasn't what's most important to me. It's not my love language, so to speak. And so, words of affirmation. Speak positive into the world. Say nice things to your significant other. That's a positive example of words of affirmation. It's like, hey, you did a great job on that. Hey, you're doing a great job with this. Wow, that is such a good thing that you've done right there. It's not just, I love you. I love you because you came through for me when I needed you. I love you because you're so responsible.
So like you were saying, don't get all choked up.
Right, because these words of affirmation.
Yeah. It's like, okay, so I've known you for 23 years.
God, 23 years?
That's a long time, y'all. Woo.
I've known her longer than I've known anyone else other than my relatives, my immediate relatives. I've known her for more than half my life. That's crazy.
And we're still here, so yeah.
Crazy. But I've known this woman so long.
With the words of affirmation for you, I definitely saw firsthand how you not getting enough positive encouragement and support as a kid and as a teen has affected you as a grown-up. So I think that's commendable for you to even make the connection and then acknowledge that that's part of the reason why hearing those words like good job or thank you for doing this or I appreciate how you came through for XYZ, how that means so much to you. And so I wasn't used to phrase that. I got that a lot growing up. And so
and you told me that that's part of one of your issues is that you got it too much. You got so much positive reinforcement that you didn't get negative reinforcement. You were never held accountable.
Yeah, and that was another set of episodes last year with accountability. But with the words of affirmation, my mom and dad, my aunts, uncles, cousins, etc., they were very supportive and they were very supportive of me and encouraging. So I never lacked on words of affirmation. And so for me, as an adult, I honestly don't need those things to know my value and worth. And so that's something that that for me and you, it was kind of hard for me to understand, like why you need to hear these things. So it wasn't anything against you. It was just that I didn't get why that was so valuable. So then when I got to know you better, I obviously realized that connection. And so I definitely appreciate the fact that that we do have two different lenses to this love language, or words of affirmation.
Yeah, because the more I think back to growing up and even as an adult, that's been one of my things in my work career that is kind of a red flag for me, is if I'm killing myself for you, because I've always been the type of person who's going to dedicate to my job. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to be there when I'm supposed to be there. I'm going to be there early. I'm going to be there late. First one in, last one to leave type. That's always been the type of guy I am. True. That's how I was when I played sports when I was a kid. I'm still that same type of person in my professional career. And speaking professionally, that's one of those things that's like immediately red flag. It's like immediate red flag when you know you're the type of person who's going to kill yourself for your boss, but your boss can't even be like, hey, great job on that. It's just like, it makes you feel like you're not valued. It makes you feel like they don't care about your contribution. So why even contribute? You know what I mean? And so that's something I can 100% say has dictated decisions in my life, in my relationships, in my friendships, in my work career, in my parenting. There's lots of times, because I do really, really try to be empathetic and really try to put myself in other people's shoes and just give positive vibes as much as I can. I really do try to work hard. Whenever I'm doing anything, I do try to give it my full effort. And so when you don't hear that stuff back, after a while, you start to lose that motivation. It's like, why am I trying so hard for someone who can't even, acknowledge?
Like a thank you for doing this, or
it doesn't even acknowledge it. It's not just sometimes it's the thank you, but it's like, it's also the type of thing, for us people who have been managers and who have been in hiring situations before, in salary situations before, where we determine how much people make. Do you know how demoralizing that is when someone is killing themselves for your company and you can't even give them verbal acknowledgement? Forget about monetary acknowledgement. Forget about getting a pay raise, which is already what everybody wants. Like, why kill yourself if you're not going to get a raise? But you couldn't even get me like a verbal, hey man, thanks for being awesome. Hey bro, thanks for doing everything. We wouldn't be here without you. Our company wouldn't have survived without you. This store would not have been successful without you.
This is coming from personal experience from Jason, as you can tell the passion.
Like that's really what drove me to make a lot of the decisions in my professional career, is seeing that them people don't care about you.
You just a number, and it sounds mean. Because to me you're Jason, but to them you're the manager. You're expendable. What's the word?
Expendable. Expendable.
You're expendable.
Replaceable.
Yes,
there's this saying in that people have involving the professional world, is that like if you die today, they'll clean out your office and have your job posted by the end of the week. They don't care about you. No matter how much they tell you they do, they don't care about you. If you were to die today, they'll clean out your office and post your job by the end of the week.
Because work still must go on.
Work still must go on. So at the end of the day, that as a manager, that's also something that I realized I wasn't getting from my leadership. So as a manager, I made sure that I doubled down on positive reinforcement for my employees. And anyone who's ever worked for me can tell you that they appreciated me so much because of that. Because I made them feel like what they did was valued by giving them those words of affirmation. Be like, hey, great job on that. Hey, you did a great job putting that together. Wow, your effort is appreciated. Things like that.
Do you think that sometimes you may have had some staff who didn't need those kind of words of affirmation to help them stay motivated? That they would do it regardless of whether they've been told, a good job on this project, that their own work ethic would keep them going, opposed to you having to give them encouragement.
Well, so there's a difference between forcing words of affirmation and giving them giving them freely when appropriate.
I mean, it's given freely. It's not forced from you. But
no, a jar like is forced. I get what you're saying. A jar like is forced if you do it a lot. And so that's also kind of one of those things that is a skill that certain managers have and certain managers don't, which is reading the room. My old manager could not read the room. Woo! You got to be able to read the room.
My current one can't, though. One of my old ones could not.
And it's not just in not being just a manager as far as everyone's careers go, but with your friendships, your relationships, everything. You got to learn how to read the room. You got to be. Everybody's not an empath, thank God, because sometimes
the world would just be really, really.
Oh my God, it would be mushy. Sometimes it's hard being an empath. Sometimes it's hard, knowing that when somebody's having a bad day, it ruins your day. Sometimes that's hard, and that's the reality of it, unfortunately, that sometimes, yes, someone else having a bad day ruins my day.
Okay, let me just pause you there. So I know this is not about words of affirmation, this comment that I'm going to make, but I always thought that if you are empathetic, that means that you're an empath. And so I learned in the last couple of years that even though they had the same root word, empath, E-M-P-A-T-H, M-A-E-M-P-A-T-H, that's right. Even though they have the same root word, they don't mean the same thing, because if someone is having a bad day, if it's the kids or you or my sister, my parent, my brother, I care about their feelings, but that's not going to make me have a bad day.
But you're not an empath, though. You're empathetic to their
I was thinking they're the same thing, but they're not.
They're related. They're related. I mean, you're empathetic to their point.
Yeah.
Essentially, you're sympathetic to what they've got going on. That's cool. But
I was thinking they were the same thing.
Well, no, an empath is literally
that's right.
An empath means that is literally you could be having a bad day for something that don't got nothing to do with me, and just you being around having a bad day makes me have a bad day. I can feel your emotion,
and that's something that I think is good, that we're not the same in that regard, because I do care about people's feelings, but I don't let it bother me, because I'm going to try to be positive anyway.
So this is where I think that you're misinterpreting. It's not that I let it. No, baby, I don't let it bother me.
Is out of your control?
I just feel it. I don't let it bother me. I don't let your crap bother me. It just, when your crap happens, it just affects me. It's not like I'm going out of my way to say, let me find some way to be sad today because she's sad.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying it like that. Like you're saying, what was them, so then what was me? That's not what you're purposely doing.
It's not a conscious thing. It's like a subconscious thing. It's just like when people are sad around me, it makes me sad. But anyway, back to the show. So while Carol is looking up her word of affirmation today,
I was actually trying to learn my. That was not even going to be on the episode.
Look, that's not a word of affirmation, is it?
It's not even a word. It's a Americanized pop culture word, empath, because there is no such thing as an empath.
Are you looking? Really?
There is no such thing as an empath. So I know what you're saying. So I know it's maybe a millennial, Gen Z, whatever generation we're in.
I definitely don't think it's one of those. I think it's a psychological term that I've seen in a psychology textbook.
I'm in no way doubting what you're saying. I was actually trying to learn for my own benefit, because by chance the dictionary, it was right in front of me. So I was trying to figure out, what does empath mean in real terms, but it's not even in here.
It's not even in there.
No. So, as you were saying, so back to the program.
Oh my gosh, back to the show. And so...
And that's going to stay in there too.
I'm sure it will.
Okay.
Man, affirmative. So yes, words of affirmation, and we talked about how that went from my professional career. And I've can tell you from a professional perspective, from a friendship perspective, and from a relationship perspective, how this works. So number one,
this is according to Jason. Well, they can't see the eye roll. Only I can see it.
Well, now you told them I rolled my eyes.
Oh.
So now they know that I rolled my eyes when you said according to Jason. So
why does it matter? Baby, I'm going to...
So when that's what we're that's what we're doing, Carol.
Okay.
We've been past that.
Okay.
We've been past. You're late on the outline here, ma'am.
Because I was looking at the dictionary.
That was just part of conversation. We're already what is
Keep
it?
On going.
The website definition, positive usage. We're already down there somewhere.
Okay.
So back to the show.
Ding.
That was a light bell. So in a professional standpoint, as someone who's been a leader, had leadership positions before, I can tell you that positive words of affirmation are very valuable. There are some people who need that. There are some people who don't. But even the ones who don't appreciate being told something positive.
Yes, and I'm raising my hand because what's that face for?
I didn't make a face.
You turned your whole head.
I turned my head that way. I was looking at my coffee mug, and then I remembered there's no more coffee in there.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
what a coincidence.
No more coffee.
When you were looking that way. But I forgot what you were saying. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, my God.
Never mind. I came back.
You had to stop everything to put your point in, and you don't remember?
Because I was looking at you. Anyhow. Wait, okay, so someone like me, and I'm sure there were many others out there who don't place a high value on hearing words of affirmation, but do appreciate it. So something that you think is a mental thing, or just how everyone is built? Because I mean, everyone does not always need to hear those things, but yeah, they're cool to hear.
So again, that's where I refer to my phrase of reading the room. It's like when you, as a leader at work, when you hire people, or when you become a leader, like if you got hired after all of your staff and you're starting to get to know your staff, that's why you take the time to get to know your staff, so you know what works for this person versus what works for that person. Because
different.
I've had plenty of situations where I've had a whole leadership team and all of my subordinate managers were completely different. Sure. I had one who was a lone wolf who could get everything done by themselves, who didn't care what anybody thought. I had one person who needed to be handheld the entire journey no matter what. I had one person who could do anything but didn't have confidence in themselves, so had to keep being reminded that, yo, you're great, you can do this. Yo, you're great, you can do this.
Did her confidence improve?
Yeah, no, her confidence did improve.
These positive things from you?
Yes, her confidence did improve, and she ended up running her own store after the fact. But that's what I'm trying to say, is that you learn your staff by talking to them. And so the words of affirmation should exist whether or not your staff, anybody on your staff, psychologically needs it or not. It should exist. You should be able to positively acknowledge when people do the right thing or when people are successful, whether or not
they need to hear
whether or not they need to hear it. It's just, that's part of being a good leader. It's not about being nice. It is being nice, but I'm saying it is being nice. It's not about being nice. That's just being a good leader. That's just being a good human. It's like, acknowledge when someone does something good. That's not shouldn't be that hard. Just acknowledge when someone does something positive and let them know, hey, you did a great job there. You're doing a great job.
So let's bring this.
You have value. You know what I mean?
So let's bring this back to you and me.
Okay, so from a relationship perspective, the difference with words of affirmation, you would be surprised, but it's kind of the same thing.
Wait, I mean, I'm not surprised that it's the same thing, but like you and I, we work together, but we don't work for each other. we're teammates and partners, but like in this case for you, that was your second ranked love language. And I know that for many years, like I was sharing earlier, that I just did not understand or even get. I would actually get kind of annoyed sometimes, thinking like, why do they need to hear all these things that he already knows are true about him, because he already knows that he's doing a good job at this, that he came through in the clutch of that. So I just didn't realize till you told me that you need to hear these things, because I just did not know that that's what people need to hear.
Well, I mean, that's the same concept
it's all a learning.
That's the same concept as the acts of service thing, where it's like you love having things done for you,
but it's not like I need. I'm
but
not
what
lazy,
I'm saying,
y'all.
but what I'm saying is, I never feel like I need someone to go do something for me. Like, I feel like if I need something done, I'm gonna go do it, unless for whatever reason I can't.
Right, and you stick to that.
But the truth of the matter is I never feel like, oh my God, I would love it if somebody would go wash my truck. I would love it if somebody would go organize my tools. I never feel like that. I never feel like, oh my God.
I feel for myself.
I would love it.
Why does other people want to do it on the level that I want to do it? And so you definitely learned from me having to tell you, that means a whole lot to me, acts of service, because y'all, that was my number one.
It's the same concept with the acts of service for me as it is with words of affirmation for you. It's not that you don't appreciate it, it's that that's something that you don't think that you necessarily need. However, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get it. That doesn't mean that it's not important. And to a further extent, especially as it pertains to relationships, I think it's important that everybody does words of affirmation, just quite simply from the perspective of reminding your partner that they're important, reminding your partner that they do positive things, because especially in this world, there's a lot of us that just don't get that. We didn't get it growing up. We don't get it from day-to-day society. Society even goes out of its way to reinforce that we're not important and we're not good enough.
Especially if you're a black man.
So what I'm saying for all of y'all paying attention is, especially for the guys, because this is something that me and Carol talk about quite a bit, because we are kind of progressive folks, is like how gender roles are changing like as we speak across the country. And me and Carol have never really subscribed to gender roles per se. We never really have. But one thing we can say is how certain things are just makes it difficult to navigate when you're used to being raised a certain kind of way, and now that whole thing is completely different. And so, long story short, too late.
You say
too late for the long story to be short.
It was actually a short story, and I'm proud of you, because you stayed on top, and you stayed on track. That is wonderful.
Yeah, that never happens.
I'm happy.
That never
This is a whole
happens.
episode that you pretty much stayed on track. That's good.
This never happens. It's not over yet, though. Don't risk it. It's not over yet. Let's not talk about it yet.
Jump ahead of myself.
Oh my gosh. So, again, like those words of affirmation from a relationship perspective, it's not saying that you gotta shower your significant other with compliments all the time. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that, every once in a while, it's a good look to be like, hey, you did a great job on that. Hey, I really appreciated when you did this. For someone like me who does really, really value hard work, and has a strong work ethic and actually believes that sort of stuff matters, that putting in effort matters, when you go through 15 years of your life working professionally in a scenario where people don't tell you your work was valuable, don't tell you how much you meant to the organization and everything like that, and then to a certain extent I would feel like, and it's like that was the double whammy of not getting positive affirmation, was not only am I killing myself at work for people who underpay me and don't appreciate me,
and I would be mad because you're putting in so much effort, and I'm like, your staff loves and cares about you, but those who are above you, they may like say it on the outside a little bit, but if they really cared, they would show you more and they would value more. And so I would get mad at you for letting them take advantage of you. That was just my opinion as your wife / friend.
Yeah, being in that kind of scenario where I would feel like, no one cared that I was working super hard, and then I would come home and feel like, oh my God, like now she's mad because I've been at work all day, and you don't get positive affirmation at home either. It is kind of a downer, and I didn't understand at the time. I didn't really understand, but doing this research on the love languages really has helped me personally to understand myself a lot more. And so I do understand that hearing those kind of things, be like, hey, you did a great job on that does make me feel good, because it's like I know I did a good job,
right? Because
I'm the one who fucking did it.
Okay, pause right there, because I am trying not to laugh because we're being serious right now, but when I
go ahead.
When I would think, okay, you helped me grow by actually telling me that you need to hear those kinds of positive words of affirmation. So then when I would make sure that I did it and thank you for doing a certain thing, and not only one time, but I would do it in various scenarios, you would say, you don't gotta thank me. That's what I'm supposed to do. So then I was in my head confused, thinking, what does he mean? Because he wants to hear positive encouragement and words of affirmation, yet you're telling me now that you're going to do it, that it's part of what you do.
Well, words of affirmation aren't always thank you for
People
doing.
People are confused too, besides me.
Well, I'm finna break it down for y'all right now.
Thank you.
It's not thank you for doing what you were supposed to do, Jason. That's not a word of affirmation. A word of affirmation. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying, please. Words of affirmation are not saying something positive about what you did. I was using that as an example as it pertains to a professional setting. Words of affirmation is telling you the reasons behind why you love me. So it's not thank you for taking out the trash. Thank you for taking out the trash. Thank you for picking up the kids. Like, no, like that's what you're supposed to do. That's not a word of affirmation. A word of affirmation would be thank you for always being there for me when I need help.
And so I am still trying to get better at getting my wording together.
Like, I don't need you to tell me thank you for picking up the kids. My kids. I'm supposed to pick them up. I'm supposed to pick them up, but instead of saying... I didn't understand that back then. The difference between thanking you for doing something and words of affirmation. Because, again, I didn't need to hear those things for me. I was starting from scratch, just trying to make sure that I can make you feel appreciated, loved and valued in ways that you were going to actually welcome and receive. And that's kind of the whole point of this whole love language journey, is that it's not just doing what is supposed to be the right thing, it's doing it in a way that your partner can understand and receive. So again, it's not saying thank you. It's like no, I'm saying, like, I'm not throwing it at you. I'm saying it's not saying thank you. It's saying I appreciate not what you did, but who you are.
And I'm happy to say that I have gotten better at communicating those words to you, opposed to thanking you for doing something. So I do thank you for doing certain things, but I am able to express my words of affirmation to you in the way that you can receive and benefit from. But then this also ties into when you have kids, because my mom and dad, my aunts, uncles, etc., they gave me so much positive encouragement, so many words of affirmation, that it was like on overload. And so I had enough growing up to like last me my whole lifetime, which I thank my mom and dad and my siblings and my aunts and uncles and cousins for that. So thank y'all for loving me so much. So thank y'all for loving and telling me how much you love me. But with our kids, even though I didn't need that as a woman and as their mom, I always make sure that they get those positive words of affirmation and encouragement every single day, because I never wanted them to ever feel like how you felt growing up with your mom and dad. And so our kids, I know, are similar in certain ways, but they're also different. So with our oldest daughter, we know she's really independent. She likes to do things on her own, which is great. But with her being a teenager now, she'll tell me, "Mom, you don't have to say that. I already know." I have to also balance her love languages too, because those matter for the kids. And then for our middle daughter, she definitely needs to hear those affirming words. And so as a parent, we have to also just try to make sure that there is balance between how we show it to our partner, whether you're married or not, or whether you're dating, and then how you show it to your kids if you have children, because that can be different.
So again, I want to reiterate words of affirmation. It's not saying thank you necessarily. It's not necessarily even acknowledging what was done for you, that person. It's explaining to that person why you love them. And so that's why the words of affirmation can be so important as a love language, because it's not, you know what I mean? You could tell me till I'm blue in the face that you love me because I'm me, but what does that actually mean? Mm-hmm. And so that's where, when you say something like you're reliable, you always come through for me when I need,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You really do have a tendency to.
It was my banana pudding for breakfast.
My banana pudding.
I'm sorry.
Whenever I have something important to say, you always burp or cough or start sneezing or have to get up and go to the bathroom. It's always something. Just trying to. Anyways, again, it's not just giving them positive words. I want to make sure that that's abundantly clear. It's not just saying thank you. It's not just saying things like that. It's not even just showing appreciation. It's not that at all. Words of affirmation are different types of things that you say to explain your love for that person. That's why the negative side of that, if you're dealing with someone whose love language is words of affirmation, the negative side of that are insults. If you insult that person, that could leave them shattered, and they may never be urging positive words that are truly life-giving for that person. And you're thinking to yourself probably, well, what do you mean insults could leave them shattered? I was just playing. It's like, that's where you need to, again, read the room. Mm-hmm. Read the room. Figure out who your partner is. Figure out who your partner is, and figure out what motivates them, and then that way you can be a better partner. That's of the utmost importance. So you might think it's all good because you like to play and crack jokes, right? You might think it's all good.
Not everybody wants to hear that.
Right. Not everybody wants to hear, oh, you got big feet, or you got bad breath, or whatever the case may be. You can't cook, whatever. Like how they
these are specific examples. Oh.
Anyway. Those things aren't, you might not even think it's that big deal. You might just be joking. That person could take it with the utmost seriousness because they're a words of affirmation love language person. And so the opposite of I love you because you're beautiful. I love you because you're smart and funny. I love you because you're such a hard worker. I love you because you're reliable and you come through in the clutch. The opposite is like, I hate you because you're always late. Like what? I mean, like that's how it comes across. That's how it comes across when you insult someone who's a love language person, is they're not thinking, oh, they don't like what I did. They're thinking, they don't like me.
Right. I hear what you're saying. And so that's a whole nother issue in terms of like how how people receive what is being said.
Communication is, as much as people want to believe that they're great communicators, got to remember communication is based on the receiver, not the sender.
So thanks everyone for joining us for this episode of the Linguistic Show on this love language love language tour.
This stop on the tour.
Yes, this stop on the tour. This is number 4, and so next week is physical touch. But we definitely learned from each other some more, because as you are with someone, whether you're dating, married, or even a friend, you can never stop learning. And so even though I've known you for 23 years, I am glad that we can still learn from each other.
I agree.
Yep, so check us out on past episodes on Stitcher, on Spotify, on Google Podcasts by searching The Linguistic Show. That is TheLinguistics Show. You can also check out our website, which is linguisticshow.com, and also check us out on Instagram at Linguistic Show. And so we'll see y'all next time.
All right, have a good night, y'all.
If you enjoyed this, like, comment,
subscribe, and share to the Linguistic Show.
This has been an Ashangali Enterprises production.
Co-produced by Naomi. Music by Brassville.